soft shell taco, mild sauce. Move the Ferrari like a wild horse, or I get chauffeured like a mob boss.
Carlo Gambino was arguably the most successful mob boss in history, keeping to the oath of omerta and keeping a low profile, never being caught on tape. No flashy clothes, just an old school Sicilian. He was born August 24, 1902 in Palermo, Sicily. His family was in the Sicilian Mafia and Pasto di Regano. He had two brothers, Gaspar Gambino, who was not affiliated, and Paolo Gambino, who was part of the Gambino crime family. His father was Tommaso Gambino, and his mother was Felice Castellano. He came by himself to America December 23, 1921, landing in Norfolk, Virginia. He migrated to New York with his cousins, the Castellanos, who owned a trucking company that they worked for. He later moved to Brooklyn and had a summer house in Long Island. In 1932, he married his cousin, Catherine Castellano, the sister of famous Paul Castellano. They had 4 children, Tomas, Joseph, Carlo, and a daughter named Felice. Carlo joined the mob by joining Joe Mazzaria, another Sicilian gangster who became a mob boss. Gambino was arrested a few times, but charges were dismissed. In early 1932, Mazzaria went to war with another Sicilian mob boss named Salvatore Maranzano. Mazzaria and Maranzano were Mustache Pete's, old school mobsters from Sicily who believed only Sicilians can be associated with. Outsiders were not welcome. The Mustache Pete's were also very greedy. Mazzaria's second in command, Lucky Luciano, seen the opportunity to take him out. Gambino and the other young mafioso disliked Mustache Pete's. They wanted to change and didn't like being taken advantage of. They believed in working with Italians and non-Italians, as Luciano's best friends were Frank Costello from Calabria, so he was looked down upon, Meyer Lansky, who was a Jewish, and also Bugsy Siegel, who was another Jew. Mazzaria and Maranzano both disliked the fact that Luciano associated with them. Luciano and Salvatore Maranzano met about getting rid of Mazzaria and taking over his rackets. April 15, 1931, Mazzaria was killed during a dinner/card game with Luciano. With Mazzaria gone, Maranzano became the boss of all bosses. He created the 5 families and held to old customs like omerta, the oath of silence. He made the leaders of the 5 families Joe Profaci, Tommy Gagliano, Vincent Mangano, Lucky Luciano, and himself. Luciano planned to get rid of Maranzano as well, because he was even worse than Mazzaria. Maranzano felt Luciano had a distaste for him, so he ordered Luciano killed. But Tommy Lucchese got wind of the plan and warned Luciano. Luciano, fearing for his death, set up a plan sending 4 Jewish hitmen to kill Maranzano as they wouldn't be recognized. With Maranzano gone, Luciano became the boss of all bosses and removed the term, saying it would cause problems. He also created the commission and ran the mob as a governing body. They held board meetings to settle disputes and talk business. With Mazzaria dead, Gambino and his cousins became soldiers in the Mangano family. Albert Anastasia became the underboss, even though Gambino was more of mafia royalty. Mangano disliked Anastasia because he was close to Luciano and Costello. He hated that Anastasia would assist Luciano and Costello without his permission. This exploded into physical violence on multiple occasions. In 1937, Gambino was arrested for tax evasion for running a 1 million-gallon liquor distillery in Philly. He was sent to the state pen. In 1951, Mangano and his brother Phil were murdered on orders from Anastasia. Phil's body was found in Sheepshead Bay in Brooklyn. Vincent's body was never found. In 1957, Vito Genovese moves against Albert Anastasia and Frank Costello. Anastasia ran the Mangano family, which is now the Gambino family, and Costello ran the Luciano family, which would later be known as the Genovese crime family. Genovese asked Gambino to help him with the hit, as Gambino was Anastasia's underboss. Genovese ordered up-and-coming Vincent Chin Gigante, who would later lead the Genovese crime family, to kill Frank Costello. This was a big move, as Costello was appointed acting boss by Capo de Capi Lucky Luciano. Gigante waited outside of Costello's apartment and shot him when he came out. Costello was grazed in the head but survived, as Gigante thought he had killed Costello and he ran off. Gigante was later picked up for this shooting, but Costello refused to identify him, saying that he didn't know who shot him. Gigante was let go. Costello had agreed to step down, and Genovese became the boss. Anastasia was the next target. Genovese and Gambino ordered Joe Profaci, the leader of the Profaci family, which is now the Colombo family, to kill him, but he passed the hit to Joe Gallo. Anastasia was killed in a hotel barbershop by 2 masked men. Gambino took Anastasia's spot as the boss. Genovese called a national mob meeting in Apalachin, New York, that was busted by the cops. This was the first and last meeting where all the bosses were there, as the police raided it and left all the bosses looking like fools. Just imagine all the old men running around in 3-piece suits and nice fancy cars, running through the woods. They blamed Genovese for this. Gambino conspired with Luciano to have Genovese arrested, as he was causing problems to the mob. He was power hungry and wanted to be capo de capi. Luciano had declined his request many times, saying that he wasn't ready to retire and he was still Genovese's boss. Eventually, Genovese was arrested after they paid a Puerto Rican drug dealer $100,000 to implement him in a drug deal. Genovese was sentenced to 15 years, where he died of a heart attack 10 years later, February 14, 1969. Luciano died 7 years prior from a heart attack in Naples, Italy. He had plans to go meet with someone about doing a documentary on himself. After Genovese was in jail, Gambino took full control of the commission. He led 500 soldiers and 1,000 associates. In 1962, Gambino's oldest son, Thomas Gambino, married Tommy Lucchese's daughter, Frances. Over 1,000 people attended the wedding, in which Gambino gifted Lucchese $30,000. In return, Lucchese gave Gambino a part of his rackets at Idlewood Airport, which is now known as JFK Airport. Lucchese and Gambino now ran most of the organized crime in New York. In 1963, Joseph Bonanno, leader of the Bonanno crime family, planned to take out Gambino, Lucchese, Stefano Magnino. Also, Frank DeSimone was a target. He plotted with Joseph Magliocco. Joseph agreed as he was denied a seat in the commission. They gave the task to Joe Colombo, but Colombo had other plans. He's seen an opportunity from this to move up in rank. Colombo turned in the men, and the commission summoned the men to explain himself. But Bonanno fled to Canada in fear of death, leaving Magliocco to face the commission by himself. Magliocco admitted the plan and was spared, but he was forced to step down as boss of the Profaci family. He was also fined $50,000. After this, the commission let Colombo take over the Profaci family, and he renamed it the Colombo crime family. Gambino was supposed to be indicted on conspiracy charges after he was accused of conspiring to hijack an armored truck carrying $3 million. He was arrested March 23, 1970, and released on a $75,000 bond. He never faced time as his health was failing, and he was to be deported rather than put in jail. When they went to deport him, he had to be rushed to the hospital for a massive heart attack. June 28, 1971, Joe Colombo was shot 3 times at the Italian Unity Day rally, which he was passionate about. One shot hit him in the head and he was paralyzed. He died in 1978. Gallo was blamed for the murder, but the shooter was seen at a Gambino club, so it was assumed that Gambino could have been involved, since he disliked the Italian Rights League that Joe Colombo ran. The Colombo family believed it was Gallo, so he was killed April 7, 1972. After Genovese died, a few men tried to run the family, but Gerardo Cattina was jailed and Thomas Eboli was killed on order from Gambino after borrowing $4 million to try to expand the drug empire. It is believed he was really killed because they wanted a different boss. Gambino died early morning, October 15, 1976. He was 74 years old. Paul Castellano succeeded him after the underboss, Della Croce, was jailed. Castellano was succeeded by famous mobster John Gotti. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and let me know what I could do better in the comments section. I'd like to say rest in peace to all the fallen mafioso. And grazie a tutti. Thank you all.